everybody. Welcome to Sonic Talk, episode 475. Hopefully I've synchronised everything this week, the Facebookies, the YouTube live stream, everybody. Today, this is Sonic Talk 475, recording live Wednesday, the 7th of December, as we head into the festivities. Although I'm not feeling all that festive just yet. It usually happens around the 14th or 15th for me. This is the podcast that's dedicated to music technology, recording, synthesizers, electronic music, software, live production, all of those kind of things. So do stay tuned if that is something that you're interested in. Even if it's not, you might enjoy yourself. I have heard of people who find it interesting, even though they have no interest in this kind of subject matter, because we have such great guests and witty banter. At least I'm told that. I'm obviously not saying that myself. So this is brought to you by iZotope. If you're interested in the Neutron plugin, then please do stay tuned. There's a competition a little bit later, and if you entered already for last week, you might find out whether you won or not. But in the meantime, let's get on to our guests. I'm going to start with Mr. Ty Unwin. I just decided that because I saw the colours. It's looking quite Tron there. I don't know what that is above you. It looks like grid. I suppose that's the grid of some form of soundproofing.
It's acoustic treatment, yes. It is.
There we are.
Hello.
How are you? Ty Unwin, of course, composer, very busy man, also avid synth purchaser and collector and user, I might add.
Yes, not collector, user.
User,
yes.
Okay. Distinction.
That's fine. No, I'm good, thank you. I am actually feeling very festive.
Are you?
If I'm honest.
Is that because you've had to just do endless Christmas musical type of
I don't
cues?
do any Christmas music at all. But I've just got back from my daughter's nativity play.
Oh,
so,
that's nice.
I'm feeling all festive, and she was a star. I mean, I don't mean she was, a star. I mean, she literally was a star.
Right.
And so
she shone
so
brightly. I find that hard to believe that you haven't got like a drawer full or more of different versions of Sleigh Bells just for the right kind of, the right
I
musical
didn't say
cue.
that.
Oh.
I didn't say that. I do have multiple Sleigh Bell libraries, just in case. But they don't get used regularly, put it like that.
I like sleigh bells. I like to use sleigh bells in place of tambourines sometimes when I get the opportunity, which isn't very often. That chuckle you heard there was Mr. Rich Hilton, who's also with us this week. Rich Hilton, of course, on the road with Chic, the travelling disco experts, I think would be fair to say, with Nile Rodgers, also often in the studio. How are you, Rich? Are you well?
I am, thank you. I'm very well. And I don't have numerous sleigh bell libraries.
Just the one?
Yeah, probably, if I had to go looking. But that's why I was so amused and impressed by Ty's massive
sleigh bell
library.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, Rich, it's great to have you aboard. I hope you've had are you getting festive? I guess your kids are probably not so young that they will be in nativities and what have you these days, so you're not getting the same enforced Christmas activity at such an early part of the month, right?
Well, the gifts just get more high-tech and expensive as the years progress. It's not that. Fortunately, they'll be here, so that'll be great. And there's technology now involved. Higher technology than video games.
Excellent. Well,
very much looking forward to it.
I'm glad to hear that. I think I am too, probably, ultimately. I'm not a Grinch. I do know people who are, though. I also want to say hello to Mr. Gaz Williams, gazwilliams.me, producer, bass player, music technologist. And as I'm sure everybody knows, last week we had a live tumble with your kit. And unfortunately, there's been a breakage. What was the casualty?
The casualty was the sledge, which now looks a bit like a toothless drunk. I had a bit of a scrap with this microphone behind me in a bit of a tumble down. The best bit about it, though, was unbeknownst to you at the time, I actually had my in-ear monitors on, which sort of my hair was so it didn't look like I had headphones on, but I did. And those in-ear monitors, they block out all outside noise, absolutely 100%. You'd like deaf to the world when you got them on. So when that thing happened, I wasn't aware of it, and it's like an almighty crash. I think it's about 8 minutes in on last week's. It's about 8 minutes in, and you and Mark Tinley and Mark's like, "What's that?" And you're like, "Boom!" And it cuts to me, and I'm like,
"What?"
And then I have a look, and then see. So, yes. So I just thought I'd better explain that little bit there, the fact that my in-ears were kind of making me...
Well, I'm going to start off the show this week because I did make the circuit purchase. Your circuit should be winging its way back to you. I think he's going to see Lee, who's got it. So if you could back up what's in it and send it to me, that would be great, because now I've got my my very own circuit, which I've actually now discovered that I can't do triplet timing, which is really irritating. Not at the native tempo. You can do it if you go to 12s and then up the tempo by a third, and then it'll work, but I can't then sync it via MIDI clock to something that is running at the native tempo. So hopefully firmware update, maybe.
You couldn't just put the steps... No, you couldn't just change the steps in the thing. Yeah, it's tempo, isn't it? No, there's no native... You're right, yeah.
There's no native way. That's my only downside, but at the moment, but yes, I was talking to Ty before anyone came on saying, yeah, and because it's got a speaker, I will obviously be taking it with me everywhere and composing masterpieces at the, in downtime. Where have we heard that before? I'm sure we've done our various tales of the sort of stuff we used to lug around when on tour, thinking we were going to be writing music in our spare time, but very rarely are. Anyway, so let's begin. I'm just going to switch to here, and let's start with this one. This is a new, another controller, so modular controller. This is an interesting idea, which has got these overlays, which I think actually... So that's a fret overlay, there's pads overlay. I think there are 3, basically. You get... That's sliders. USB. There you see what's going on there. It's called Joué, which is... French for play, I believe, or some derivative of that. And there's the keyboard. It looks a bit like the Keith McMillan Keyboard Pro.
Is an expressive and modular MIDI controller that feels like a real instrument. It's
spoiled when the voice comes in a little bit.
Simplifying digital music playing and offering beginners
like Tonics tea cakes
a unique level of expressivity and spontaneity. Joué is made of materials such as wood and metal, usually used for traditional instruments. Combined with the soft silicone modules, it offers an infinite playground for musicians. Modules can be exchanged on the fly thanks to their embedded memory. Joué board will automatically detect new modules and will send MIDI data according to their configuration. The board is equipped with a high-sensitive pressure sensor, allowing use of natural gestures, such as vibrato and bending.
The Joué team is...
That's enough of that. Interesting, though. I mean, we're getting there, aren't we? This one looks, because we've seen there are various other modules. I like the idea that there's these kind of overlays. This is on Kickstarter, again, which seems to be the popular thing. And the bad news is it's not going to be around till next year. But they do seem to have... where have they got? They've got about a third of the way there, and they've got 40 days to go. When did it start? I don't know. It's an all or nothing one. So if you're in, you're in. If you're out, that's it. I'll start with you guys, because we do talk about controllers. I mean, we're still searching for that. Does this have
I don't know. This is painful, this one. I'm really struggling with this one. I mean, the first thing that it strikes me, though, is just how similar looking it is to the Linstrument, with the wood ends and stuff. It really is sort of remarkably similar to it. So I don't know how Roger would feel about it. But the thing, they have to get so much right to make this work. They say that the thing automatically recognizes the overlays when you put it on there, and that how these overlays are going to interact with the software. It's just only got USB on there, so it's only a computer.
That's a shame.
It's just like a computer controller. There's just so much to go wrong with it. I just don't know what's going to, the silicon on those strips, just how durable is that going to be? How responsive is it going to be after you've been using it for a bit? It just looks so many things that can go wrong with it. And so I'm really dubious about it, but I do like the creativity behind it. So I'm a bit torn about it, but I would be very nervous about the longevity of it and what the support of it's going to be like. And
I mean, it's only going to be about, according to the Kickstarter anyway, it's looks like it's about 260 to 280 euros. So it's not, it's not like $1,000 instrument that is going to be a doorstop. I mean, it's still
right.
Really,
so it's
look, that one there looks like Looks like eggs, doesn't it? Like egg yolks. It looks like maybe there's some cooking going on in that one. I know, but
So
I take your point. I do take your point.
It is going to be the cheapest way into that type of MPE control.
Well, I don't know if it does MPE. That's the thing.
It says so. It does say
it? Thank goodness for that. Thank goodness for your research, Gaz. I don't know. Ty's looking slightly less than impressed, but I don't know. I could be wrong. It's hard. You're so hard to read. You must be good at poker.
I'm getting a name for myself now that everyone's just expecting rants. Do you know? I think I'm with Gaz on this one. I'm completely mixed about this. What I do love is the fact that there's all these little companies that are really trying to do something new, trying to push the boundaries in terms of controllers. So I love that side of things, and also, this does actually look promising. My issue would be exactly the same as Gaz's, which is the longevity of it in terms of the physical side of things more than anything else. I think if they can get the software right, it could be really useful. It could be great. I'm not a huge fan of anything that's got parts that are bits of silicon, essentially, that, kind of you're taking off, you're taking on, you're putting it, you're replacing it. After a few months of doing that, you only need one to,
lose one. I'm sure, if they're going to stick around, you can probably replace them, but just buy replacement ones, and if there are other ones coming out,
But I think that's the problem. I think you're right, but I think it's a risk, because with companies like this, and I do wish them well, and I really hope they do make a go of it, but you have to accept when you're going into these kind of purchases that the reality is this may be a company that doesn't make a second product or a third product or whatever. We don't know this.
Yeah.
And I would just... looks to me like the kind of controller you could get really attached to, and it could really work for you, and then if you do break one or whatever, or lose a bit or whatever, you come back in a year's time to maybe get a replacement and suddenly find that that's impossible.
I need to replace those fried egg controllers. They are the ones for me, and they're the ones that wear out the fastest, etc. Yeah.
Well, they obviously with me, obviously. But,
Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of theoretically, I think it looks great. I think the problem I would have is the physicality of it. I would just be concerned about it. But if they can sort it out, it could be great.
I mean, if they were going to do it in a gig, you take that thing off, you put it in a pile of sick or something. Do you know what I mean? It's just, they are going to get minging very quickly. And then, all bits of fag ash going into it or whatever else, your doings. And I don't know. Sorry.
All right, Rich, what do you think? Let's hear from you.
Are they dishwasher safe?
I would, if they're silicone, you could probably put them in the oven. You may be able to use them actually as table mats as well.
Great, light a fire with them. Well, obviously we've not touched it. We don't know the durability. These are all really good points and really good considerations. And whether or not by having the thing relaying all the time is going to wear it out faster or whatever. I looked at this. All of that's really righteous and practical. I looked at this and thought to myself, well, as a guy who grew up playing instruments that are of a fixed variety, the guitar that I play has this many strings on it, the keyboard that I play has those keys arranged in a certain way. And now we have a world where you can arrange things yourself. And not only that, you can freely rearrange those things. And what do I like about that and what don't I like about that? Because it kind of shakes me out of a comfort zone. And I think what I like about it is that it kind of forces you not to rely on some sort of pre-developed technique that you have and tricks related to that technique, and kind of forces you to be musical in new and different ways. And I think that's sort of always good. And so to that end, I applaud these guys and anybody else who wants to do this stuff, the Rolly Blocks or whatever. It's just, if it pushes people to make music in different ways and helps them to have fun with it, just because they never studied oboe in school, it's fine. It's all good to me. So I'm interested in this thing. I don't know anything about the longevity. It's a very, very good question. And, the whole small company.
It looks like fun, though.
Those silicon overlays are smart. They do have kind of
maybe you can't dishwash them. Yeah.
They have technology
Watch
in
out,
them.
kids. Don't take our advice.
I was joking, but it looks like cool technology that you can do what they purport to be doing there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fact, as soon as you lay this thing onto some sort of prefab surface, it recognizes what it is and configures to that. is pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay, well, like I say, 38 days to go. What's there? Let's have a look. We can just have a look there. There's the vid. They haven't got a lot. I mean, they've got a decent number of backers, so people are obviously interested. And this goes back to, I think we talked about this last week. The last time there was a controller on, it's like there is a desire to get the controller, that everybody's looking for the thing, isn't it? You know, the one controller that they can connect with and will do what they need to do. So we'll have to see.
I have to be honest. I think that controller that we're all looking for, personally, I don't think is one like this. I don't think it's one where you can design it within your own components and you can change it and you can. I don't think that is the be-all and end-all controller. I think someone will bring out a controller which is just one form factor and just works on every level. And I don't think it's this way of doing it. That's personal opinion. But
yeah, no, that's fair enough. Okay, let's move on to
When man first thought he'd like to make his music electronically, naturally enough, he thought of a keyboard.
And it was reaction to just that kind of Stone Age thinking that led a rock musician to invent this. It's the mixed marriage between a violin and a plastic drain pipe. And it's a lot more subtle than...
And it's not at all phallic in any way.
Well, you can glide, glissando, you can bend notes.
This is David Vorhaus, I believe.
Just with your fingers.
And I think Judith Howard has the hots for him.
That finger technique.
With the help of this little switch, it has a repeater action. This controls the speed of the thing.
I quite like this, actually. He's just a bit of a rock god, isn't he? It's amazing.
He's very fast chromatic runs. No problem whatsoever.
He's very laid back at the same time. Should have been a carry-on film. It's awesome. This was doing the rounds on Facebook, and it was I think it was a Tomorrow's World special, which is in the UK. It's a program of sort of forward-thinking technology. And in fact, there are lots of clips of people talking about the first samplers and synthesizers sort of throughout the history of that program. And that was presenter Judith Hahn, who was about as 80s, I think, late 70s, early 80s as possible to get in a TV presenter look. David Vorhaus with the Kaleidophone, which I believe. I've seen some other videos of him playing a more modern version and sort of doing guitar type stuff with sort of solo kind of things. And yes, I just thought it was awesome. I don't know, Ty, I know you're a big fan of the Kaleidophone. Wasn't it the name of a kind of splinter studio that Delia Derbyshire
was it? With the White Noise project, was it? Is that what it was?
I believe, well, I said Delia Derbyshire and Brian Hodgson moonlighted from the BBC to set up the Kaleidophone studio in 1969. Apparently, because I was trying to think, that's what kept coming up when I was searching for this. I was trying to find the origins of the instrument, and I think it might be named after that.
And was it called White Noise, the project that they did? They had a group, the two of them. Yeah, it was White Noise. I remember this going out.
Whoa.
I remember this.
Oh, yeah. Have you still got it on a Betamax tape somewhere?
I used to watch. I was a big Tomorrow's World lover. I used to absolutely love it. And I was blown away by it then. And I mean, let's be honest about this. If someone released this as a product now and kind of fine-tuned it, and you have to say in this day and age there would be a market for it.
Yeah,
there would be a market for it. And you then. I was actually watching the way he was using it, and you're thinking, so what year was this? This was
76, 70, yeah, I think, actually, that's a good
point.
Maybe
earlier. Maybe earlier.
Yeah, I think the early
The
70s.
White Noise album was earlier than that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
White Noise, 69.
Yeah, 69.
So, but you think, so that's however long, 40-odd years ago. And in terms of controller, have things really moved on that much away from drain pipe and some
tape,
kind of some carbon strips.
It was one voice per mono voice per string, which just seemed kind of cool.
Yeah.
Gaz, well, actually, I'll come to you, Rich. I mean, as we know, the whole BBC Radiophonic Workshops, we have a fondness for it in the UK that perhaps doesn't translate to the America, just purely because it wasn't happening there at the same time. But this looks kind of cool. I could imagine somebody doing something like this. Jordan Rudess would play it.
Oh, a number of people would play. It's pretty cool. It's amazing that he cobbled this thing together and got good on it. And it's kind of funny that rocker switch he's got that so desperately wanted to be a momentary, but instead is this rocker switch. Like it's all kind of kludgy and funky, but he plays the heck out of it. And I heard the White Noise albums back then and knew this guy's name. Spent the whole first half of the video going, "What's this guy's name?" And I didn't realize that it had substantially been created on something that wasn't a keyboard. And so this was kind of fun for me to connect the dots from something I'd heard 40 some odd years ago. And you know what? 4 ribbon controllers on a piece of drain pipe, I've heard worse ideas in my lifetime. So he seems to have pretty cool control of it. I don't know how he got the pitches to quantize back then. I'm trying to figure that out. How did he get it so that you run your finger up and down the thing and it's playing? There must have
been quantizers around, I guess. I mean, it must have been but maybe not. That's a good point.
You're looking at a VCS3 on the table. I mean,
yeah.
How are you going to do that in a VCS3?
I'm not entirely sure. That's a good point. No, it's cool. Gaz, I'm just visioning you just walking off screen and coming back with, "I've got one," and you throwing the sort of shapes, because I think it would look good on you.
Yeah.
That with your analog keys, analog 4 rather.
Actually,
go on.
No, carry on, Gaz.
I've played a gig with a White Noise.
Oh, wow. Did he have a Kaleidophone?
About 10 years ago. Disappointingly, he was just using a laptop.
As they all do.
Like, really into it, and it was just like, oh, no. But yeah, that White Noise, that first one, Here Come the Fleas, that is just amazing. It's so unbelievably ahead of its time. It still sounds, it's like the sound of trip hop, some of it, it's just incredible. It really is a mind-blowing album. So Rich, you're saying that you reckon he played that on that?
Some of it, maybe.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it's called.
It sure looked like it. There was a point at the end of the video where they're rolling tape with some music that was vaguely familiar to me, and he's jamming along, and I was like, "Really?
Yeah,
that's how he actually recorded that."
Awesome.
The best bit about that end bit, which if you haven't watched it, you have to watch it, is to watch his pose, because I don't know whether you can, but basically this arm is like this. And he's just playing with his left arm like that.
Oh, yeah.
With his right arm. Just doing that.
Yeah, don't forget the sliding up and down as well. Yeah, not at all. Yeah. Excellent. I'm so glad you took the job on there, Ty.
His right hand is running that ridiculous toggle switch.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, anyone that can play an instrument like that with your right arm doing an impression of a teapot at the same time is fantastic.
Yeah, awesome. So. And you're right about the White Noise album. I think I did an interview with Adrian Utley a couple of years ago back at his studio, and we were talking about electronic music, and he was saying White Noise was a really big influence. That and Silver Apples, were big, but the White Noise album, because was just very influential. And in fact, I guess Adrian being very, very influential on the sound of trip hop, certainly in Bristol anyway, so it all makes sense. But yes, it's just another one of those fun BBC archive things. Let's take a quick let's take a quick break and have a message from our sponsors. This is Isotope's Neutron, which is the mix plugin which analyzes or can analyze using the track assistant the kind of frequency content of your mix and make suggestions as to sort of places that you could clarify. It's actually really powerful. You've got individual processing change for music track types, that make suggestions of starting points for drums and acoustic instruments, vocals, that kind of thing. And lots of analysis tools to help you decipher the mix, because as we all know, mixing is difficult, and sometimes being able to see what's wrong is easier than being able to hear what's wrong or what's right even. Neutron is available now via iZotope. You just go to izotope.com/Neutron and you'll be able to download a demo copy, as with all of their stuff. There's a lot of the technology you'll find in their other plugins as well, and their new DSP boffins have been working wonders. iZotope Neutron, we thank them for sponsoring the show, and we also have a winner from last week's competition. I would just like to say, in fact, this is the very tweet, which has got a lovely sort of Tron-like video there. This is from a guy called Herv Gross, whose tweet hashtag is, I don't know how on earth I would pronounce that, Suricieri. So please do get in touch. He tweeted the hashtag sounds better and Neutrons at sonicstate and at iZotope Inc. with this lovely animated GIF, which seems to be a popular theme that's coming up more on the tweets, and I'm quite happy to keep them coming. We've also got another competition this week where you can also win a copy of iZotope Neutron. All you have to do is tweet the hashtag Mixmaster and the hashtag Neutron to at sonicstate and at iZotope Inc. So that's the hashtag Mixmaster, one word, and the hashtag Neutron, that's NEUTRON, to at sonicstate and at iZotope Inc. That will enter you into the competition. We have a very scientific process for picking the random number winner from all the people who've done that. So once again, we do thank iZotope for sponsoring the show, and if you're listening on the audio version of this, I'll just say that one more time. That's the hashtag Mixmaster and the hashtag Neutron to at sonicstate and at iZotope Inc. You need to be on Twitter to be able to do this, I might add, but it's a very painless process. So let's see, what's this one? Oh yeah, hey, look, everybody put your hands in the air. The classic sound of the Sequential Circuits Pro 1, which was often used by Mr. Vince Clarke, especially for the Yazoo years. This is a demo by a guy called Edabot on YouTube. Sounds very authentic, actually. Oh yeah, but it's the news that the Yuhi Repro, which is a software emulation of the classic Pro 1 synth, is now out. After quite a prolonged beta testing, they wanted to get this right, because they were going into sort of this deep sense of analog modelling, and they wanted to kind of get people to go, well, which filter do you like? If we put them all in, it's going to be really heavy on the DSP, so you decide what level of detail you want. So yeah, it's the classic. It's also got additional effects and 5 built effects: wavefolder, distortion, delay chorus, EQ, resonator, reverb, sonic conditioner, dynamics processor, and a little sequencer with 2 patterns, as the original had, but with editable pitch, velocity, note type, pause, etc. That's around now. I think it's $99, but it sounds good, and we know Yuhi stuff is pretty cracking, actually. So I think I did an interview with Urs Heckman at Superbooth when he was talking in depth about the process of this kind of circuit analog modelling in software. It's quite a fascinating read, if that's the sort of thing that floats your boat. Ty, have you got a Pro 1?
Oh, yeah, Yuhi are one of the best. And years ago, I had a Pro 1, and yeah, everything I've seen about this so far sounds like a Pro 1. And to be fair, Yuhi are going to get it right. They're the kind of company that they do take a long time to get things spot on, and I mean, it will be processor heavy, all of their stuff is, but you have to make that decision of, unfortunately, it's still a case of, if you want to get the best sound, you do need that kind of processing, and yeah, I think it just sounds fantastic.
I think they did go some way, actually, with this to try and reduce that, because they wanted the beta processing, the beta testing process and the alpha testing process was kind of getting people to say, how much do you want?
You're absolutely right. But I think it is all relative.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah,
I still think that compared to a lot of other plugins, the Yuhi stuff really, it really does take quite a lot. But I mean, I think the fact that they've made it monophonic and only monophonic, I think in the current day and age is that's a good move. Just purely authenticity side of things. I think it sounds great. I think it is great. I think it's $99.
Yeah.
You can't complain. It's fantastic. So, it's nice to actually see a company that take a genuine pride in trying to make things authentic.
I think they modeled. I think they had a number of different versions of it because, as I was saying, that they've got what they would consider a Goldmaster is what someone might not consider a Goldmaster. So that's something that's kind of interesting.
Absolutely, and I think, but it's they're kind of. They don't just go for the the interface that looks the same. It isn't just a picture of a Pro 1 with just a random.
No, that's true.
Do you know what I mean? Which is the kind of stuff that I appreciate, and I like that. So, absolute complete thumbs up from me. Yeah.
Cool. Rich, was the Pro 1 big in the States? Because it really kind of took off here because it was one of the first sort of affordable monos. That made it from the sequentials kind of stable. The rest were, obviously much more expensive with it being polyphonic and stuff.
It certainly was with me. I was I loved it. I was impressed by it. That and what was it? The OB1, the Oberheim SEM version of a single synth with a like a playable mono synth. They came out about the same time, and they had different wonderful presentations. I've been playing with this software for now a couple of months. I bought it like the day I saw the first beta and started playing with it. And it's not only is it remarkably like what I remember a Pro 1 to be, and I don't have one here to compare it to, but it does so much more. And has some kind of sequencer or arpeggiator functions to it. It's got an effects section that's really great, and it's not just your standard chorus flanger. It's got some cool, wave slicing stuff and saturation stuff, and you start messing with that pulse width and adding some saturation, and things start getting really nice.
Yes, I would like to add, I think it did have quite a legendary pulse width, didn't I, by all
sounds freaking great. It sounds wonderful. I was here last night. Before I saw today's topics, I was here playing with it last night because it's just fantastic. It really sounds great.
Excellent. Well, it's well worth checking out. And as Ty says, they kind of put a lot of care and attention into it. Gaz, I don't know if it'll be ready for Gadget because I think that seems to be your preferred vehicle for soft synths at the moment, right?
Yeah, well, I'm very impressed with how Gadget's developing. Jason Jervis, who played at the first Sonicstate Live, he's had a Pro 1 for a long time, and it's always been this thing I've always been like, interested in, but I haven't tried the software out. But I've got a few questions about the Pro 1, though. So, 2 oscillators, both. So, can someone just give me a quick spin through what is the best, a quick highlight of the best bits of a Pro 1?
Well, as far as I recall, it was to do with the sequencer made it really powerful because it was able to get that kind of machine-like stuff without having to have anything external. That was one thing. Obviously, I'm guessing, did it have Curtis filters? I don't know what it had there, but maybe Rich or Ty can take over at this point.
I don't know the names, but the oscillators and the filters sound great.
Right.
It had a real kind of fatness to it that at the time there weren't that many of the Japanese synths that had that kind of real depth and kind of body to the combination of the oscillator and the filter. It definitely had you could spot a Pro 1. You know what would you?
It sounds like it had quite a kind of hot signal path into the filter as well, by the sound of some of the sounds that I've heard.
Yeah. What was it? 79 it came out. So what would have been its rivals at the time then? Like a SH09 or no? What? 79?
SH1.
SH1.
79? Was it that late?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I might be wrong about that.
I'm just going to have to look it up now.
I thought it was earlier than that. I'm going from memory though.
Yeah. I don't think it was earlier.
No. Okay. What's it?
1980. Well, hold on. 1981 to 1984. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Let's see. I'm looking. 1981 to 1984, according to Vintage Synth Explorer, right here.
81.
Yeah.
Which came. did the 600, the Prophet 600, come out after that? Then
it was 82. 600 was 82, 83, I think. Well, it had MIDI, so it was 83.
Oh yeah,
was this
right,
yeah.
Yeah, it's we're starting to get top trumpy now, aren't we? It's anyway, it's available now, and it's always nice to have a new synth available from Yuhi. So good on them. Right, we got another topic coming up. Does anyone want to talk Motu, or should we talk about other stuff first? Because the Motu stuff looks pretty cool. Just a quick mention of that. That's the new 624. Which has got USB 3, Thunderbolt, and AVB all connected into one half rack. So that's got 16 in, 16 out, but it's sort of got a bit of everything. That looks pretty cool. And also there's an 8A, which has got just 8 channels of analog I/O plus ADAT and Toslink, and that again has got USB 3, Thunderbolt, and AVB, which I would really like to try one of those actually, because I think the AVB thing looks quite interesting. If you could get like a network up together, it's just a question of whether you've got enough things that talk AVB to create this kind of network. I don't know, Rich, have you had any experience with the AVB thing? I know Motu's a good American company that has a lot of stuff in studios over there, and lots of people use those interfaces live, right? And you use one live, don't you? You use one on the road at least.
I have. I don't use it all the time, but I have used one, and I really like their gear, and I really liked this product when I saw it, and the expandability aspects is really cool. I'm sure the converters sound fantastic. The clocking will be good. It'll be durable as can be. I think it's a little pricey for the base model.
$795, I think, yeah.
Because it's only, for the number of gazintas and gazatas you get on that box, it's a lot of money. And I think the reason for that is because it offers the modern connectivity options of USB-C, Thunderbolt, and the AVB stuff.
I think, as we said, Thunderbolt is a big license. It's a big part of the license you have to pay because it's an extra cash.
I see.
Yeah,
I see.
Because
it just seems like a lot of money for that many ins and outs. But I'm sure it's a fantastic product. The add-on box looks great for one rack space. That's a whole lot of stuff with a couple of mic pre's and a couple of, like a whole bunch of line ins, and it's really quite nice. And I really like my Motu gear. I'm soaking in it right now. I listen through it all the time,
right?
And I like it a lot.
Yeah, cool. I know, Gaz. I know Robbie uses them live when he's out with Howard Jones and what have you, the main rig.
Yeah, and I'm a Motu user who is looking at his aging Traveller now, Motu Traveller. I am starting to look at. I'm in the market now to replace that one. So I guess it's quite interesting because for my small studio here, that looks quite cool.
Going to have to spend a lot on the Thunderbolt cable though. That's the only problem, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't come with it, does it? It's still it's crazy. I think Rich is dead right. I mean, it is a little bit short on inputs and outputs. At the moment, I should add, the one I'm leaning towards is the Claret, the Focusrite Claret, because they've come down a bit in price now, and they're Thunderbolt. But they don't have this AVB, and they don't have a bunch of other things. But it does confuse me a little bit that it's offering these different ways of connecting. But why would you want all of those different ways of connecting? I mean, I can understand with the USB, it's interesting that it works class compliant over USB. So it means that it is, you're able to use it with an iPad, which is, or an iPhone even, so that's an attractive element with it. But it is a premium to pay for both. I'm with Rich.
I know. I take your point. That might be an issue but yeah, if it's got Thunderbolt, I guess the thing is you can't manufacture loads of variants because it gets complicated. Do you use RME? I can't remember what your interfacing is at your place.
Yeah, I'm RME. But I used to be a big Motu user, and I think you kind of with Motu you pay for. I always just. Very reliable. You know what you're going to get. You're not in for any great surprises. And I say that in a positive way. I don't say that in a negative way. I mean, my Motu stuff was so reliable and so on the money, and it was great stuff. And I mean, this looks good. And I think you're right, though. I think you're right, Nick. That the moment you get Thunderbolt involved, you're going to be paying more money for it. You just are. And it's a sad state of affairs, but it's true. And it's slightly pricey, but it's not compared to what you... I don't know.
It has got a bunch of DSP on board as well. I mean, it does do, mixed channels and all that kind of thing, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it's that excessive. And I think their software's really good. I mean, it's a good, solid, professional product. Personally, I've got a big RME MADI rig, so it's not for me. And when I do my traveling thing, I've got a whole load of other options. But this looks great, and I know Robbie will be excited because Robbie's a big Motu user when it comes to live stuff. So I'm sure that he'll be looking at this. So yeah, great. Can't go wrong.
I could just imagine his live rig, 800 quid's worth of of Thunderbolt cables. Yeah, sorry, Gaz.
I was eagerly awaiting to see if they were going to do a new 828 that was. It seems a new Traveller, like a Traveller Mark IV. So that, and I'm wondering if they will or if this is essentially covers that kind of territory. Really.
They have another line called Ultralight that covers some of the travel. I think it's more in tune with what the Traveller line used to be. But also, I don't recall seeing anybody else releasing an interface that connects directly to USB-C, which this does. In other words, if you have a brand new Mac Pro, let's say you wait for it, you could hook this thing straight into it and go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. That's the Ultralight Mark III, which is probably what you're thinking about, Gaz.
Well, there's a Mark IV now.
Oh, is there?
Actually.
Oh, not on.
Yeah, there's a brand new one that looks even better. I have a Mark III, and it's great. I love it. It's a Mark IV now.
I can't
see
the
thing with the Traveller, though, the Traveller has things like word clock and AES and those kind of things as well. So the Traveller, it's got a slightly different thing. It's kind of got that professional interfacing as well as... that's why it's slightly out on its own. It's not part of that Ultralight series. It's sort of its own thing because of that thing. That's been quite useful to me over the years. So that's a bit of my chin stroke. Can I get away? Do you think Do you think that form of communication's dying out now?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. But I mean, yes, I haven't had any Motu stuff. I mean, I used to spec it on when I was putting people's systems together because it was you get the PCI card, the 424, I think it was, or whatever it was called, and it had two or three slots on it, and you could just hang up to 3 big I/O sets on it, and it was it ruled the roost for a long time for mixing rigs and what have you.
I would point out that when I recently was testing a clock that somebody sent me, I went rooting around for cables to use, and ultimately I wasn't ending up with BNC connections or anything. You can do it digitally. You can control the clock over digital. So since the Traveller, there have become, now that may be your preferred way of working, and that's fine. But since the Traveller was developed, there have become other ways of creating that same environment that don't involve a BNC cable.
I think you could do it. You could do it with AVB. You can do it all sorts of ways. Anyway, but anyway, right. Let's move on to. Gaz, did Cubase 9 drop? Did I see that?
Yes.
Has it actually been announced?
Yeah, it's been announced today. It's and I've got it installed. I've got it in front of me, and. Interesting, yeah. Some very, very cool new features. Some things some people will probably laugh at because, one of the main things is the fact that you can have the mixer view across the bottom half of the screen, which, Logic changed to that format many years ago. But it's not just that. It's, Reaper and many of them do this split screen thing, but Cubase does that now. But it's quite elegant, the way that they've done it. And I think one of the most interesting and exciting features that I've seen so far is the new sampler track.
That's here.
Yeah, this does look really, really cool because this allows you to sort of essentially grab any audio from anywhere really, but certainly from directly within your project, and then you can just essentially create a new sampler track out of any of your audio straight away. So then once it's a sampler track, your MIDI keyboard straight away starts playing that little,
that's handy for workflow,
audio.
I'd imagine. Yeah, wow, that's cool.
And then what you can do then is a lot of sample editing, and there's a very nifty thing. Then you can just export it straight then to Groove Agent or Halion as well. So if you want to build it into, fantastic way of making. Of getting a load of samples together to use on a 16-pad grid control.
That's neat.
Yeah, so and they've put so many filters and all sorts of stuff into it, and into this, and then so it's quite nice as well because this bottom part of the screen, like I mentioned, in that the mixer can go into, can become the sample editor for the sample track just by clicking on the audio. So it's definitely a big workflow thing.
Yeah, I'm just seeing mix console history, so you can basically just save mixes throughout. That looks kind of neat.
Huge, yeah. So that's a separate undo and redo history specifically to the mix engine. Something that's always been a little bit strange within Cubase, but completely understand it. Any change, whatever, to any mix, the VST aspect of if you will, has never been part of the undo history. So sometimes you can make a mistake, an accidental thing, and you messed your mix up and you can't put it back because the undo doesn't work. Well, it does now because you can undo just through mix things without affecting what edits you've got going on in the arrange page. So I think that's a dead clever and well. Yeah, I'm going to, I've just leant across all my faders on my fader bank. Just messed my mix up.
Or pulled your headphones across or whatever, yeah. Had some kind of random, yeah. No, I can understand why you buy.
Those things may happen.
No, that's cool. Well, I think we're going to, hopefully we'll have a little feature on that at some point with Gaz in the future. But yeah, that's kind of cool. I don't know, does any of this apply, because do you work in Nuendo, Ty?
Yeah, my main rig is Nuendo, but my traveling system is Cubase. So yeah, I'll be buying this tonight. I mean, I have to say, Cubase and Nuendo are my world really. I've used all the others. I used to be quite proficient in all of them, and now you'll
be able to use that sampler track in your next Sonic Live performance.
Well, yes, basically. If ever there is one, let's hope not. But the sampler bit, I think people need to understand, because I mean I've seen a few things in the forum with people going, I use Contact, or it's not like a traditional sampler. It's just literally drag drop that now is an instrument. I mean it's
right.
A very clever,
it's a bit
quick
of a
way of doing
it. Okay.
And so it's not meant to replace Contact or kind of simpler or any of that.
Sorry, Rich.
Well, if I understand that correctly, then that's what Structure was doing like 10 years ago. In other words, Avid had a sampler called Structure that you could basically just grab a piece of audio on your page, drag it in there, and it's a sampler.
Yeah.
Off you go.
Yeah. I'm sure.
But this kind of dovetails nicely into another topic we were talking about on the list.
Was that the TimeShaper by any chance?
It is indeed.
I will play
talk about taking samples out of your music and doing wacky, amazing things very easily and quickly with them.
All right, then. I will. Let me play that video now. Thanks for the intro. There we go. I'll play that. What's that? What's that you got, Ty, there? Is that, have you been memed?
Into a synth mem for the end of
that's the...
What's that?
Synth memeing at the speed of light.
It says, I'm a teapot. Whoop.
Well, You did say that, to be
The
fair.
teapot.
That's
The world is now over. Fantastic.
The synth memes group strikes again. Anyway, Cable Guys, this is the TimeShaper, which is a kind of, I mean, it's similar in many ways to there's the BT stutter edit type of thing, but this sort of seems to present those kind of features in a different way, which seems to make sort of visual sense. And Rich, you were saying that you kind of you dug this, so you go first.
I was really impressed with the breadth of things this thing made easy to do, including grabbing samples from here and replacing them to there. And you could, they basically started with boom, check, boom, check, back. And next thing you know, there's all this incredible stuff happening with, tape stops in the middle of it. And it's just remarkable the sheer number of processing things you can do in a nice little tightly organized rhythmic interface space.
Yeah, I must admit, I did like the look of that, and I think that because those sort of things, those deck effects are actually really, really hard to do any other way than printing something to vinyl, put it on a turntable, doing, I mean, you could sort of do it, but you can't ever quite get it right.
I used to be able to do something very close to that with Pitch and Time, Serato's once great software before they became whole hog DJ company, but that was only one of their very, very cool algorithms. There were a whole pitch and speed changing things that happened within the context of your 2-bar or 4-bar loop. I think I'm buying this thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's $39, I think, something like that.
Yeah, 44.
Yeah, 44. Ty, I'm not sure this is necessarily something you might use in your everyday musical drama cues, but,
I bought it.
Oh,
I bought it last week. They were doing an offer when it got announced, and you could buy it with. I've never even come across this company, to be fair, and they did a bundle where you could basically buy everything that they did for some ridiculous price, including this.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
And I mean, I heard one demo of each of their things, thought, my God, this is, bargain of a lifetime. I mean, it's ridiculous. And this thing looks great, exactly like Rich said. I because of work, I haven't had a chance to actually try it out yet, but it looks fantastic. I heard this skip through it, and you're right, it does a lot of things we've got other things that do it in a slightly different way, but this just looks so simple, and the interface, it's such an obvious way of displaying things, and you kind of know what's going on, which a lot of these things you kind of don't. It's all a bit more difficult to actually translate visually. So absolute no-brainer for whatever it is, $39 or whatever it is, I can't remember. But fantastic.
€39, yeah. Gaz, got any uses for this kind of thing?
Didn't really float my boat particularly, just because I think it's to do with the interface. I think I would much prefer it if it was an iPad app, then I'd be really into it. I think it would be, I don't know. I've been doing quite a bit of stuff with iDensity on the iPad. There's iPulsaris and iDensity. I can't actually remember which one it is now. But you can do 4 waveforms, and you can do some brilliant time skipping things over them, and doing it with your fingers, it just feels really cool. So I suppose when I was watching it, I was thinking, okay, but do you know what though? I didn't look at the price. When you look at the price, then it's a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah, I think the bundle is like €169 for everything they do, which is got Curve 2, Filter Shaper, Filter Core, Time Shaper, Volume Shaper, Pan Shaper, Width Shaper, and MIDI Shaper. So
it's good stuff. It's quality, creative stuff.
Okay. All right. Well,
cool.
well, worth checking out. But it was just an interesting thing. The demo kind of go, oh, that's neat. And it runs inside a host, I believe. So jolly good stuff. Right. I think we're kind of nearly there, to be honest.
Polivoks.
Sorry. Oh, yes, Polivoks. Yeah, the Polivoks. I didn't have it in the topic list, but the Polivoks limited edition has come out, hasn't it? They remade it in a sort of slightly new situation, and obviously upped the build quality, because the original Polivoks was kind of made from weird, cheap plastic, and kind of just generally as it was an odd construction quality with sort of like rice-based plastic or something. It was really unusual. So I should probably have a quick look at that. But the new one is now available for is it pre-order or you can buy it? I mean, it's limited edition and it's not the cheapest synthesizer. Let's say Polivoks.
Come to me at the end.
Let's have a look. Polivoks. I can't. Yeah, I'm trying to find the thing on that. Does that mean you're not getting it then, Ty? Or have you got one?
I mean, no. It's this has made me. Oh, okay. This is my rant. This has made me more angry about a business plan than I think I've ever got. I've never been as annoyed about a product launch as this, and the reason is quite simply, I've had my eye on this for some time. And because they're great synths.
Oh, here we go. That's what it looks like.
They were different. I've only ever doodled on one once, and they're different. They're different. There's a raw kind of sound to them. And when they announced this, I thought, this looks interesting. Keep my eye on this. And all the way along the line, I've kept my eye on this, thinking, great. And how much is it going to be? And everyone within their right mind thought it was going to be around the 2 to 2.5K mark. And I'm sitting there going, 2 to 2.5K, absolutely fine. I'll go with that. Fantastic. And then they've launched, I don't even know what they do. They're kind of trying to copy eBay, but in that people are thinking that you put in your bid, there's 100 available, you put in your bid for $1,850. And you've got your synth for $850. No, you haven't. This is an auction. You have your bid of $1,850. And anyone can come in and outbid you.
Oh, minimum bid, right. Yes, I see. Gosh. Yeah.
If you want to buy it outright, in other words, you want to get in touch and guarantee that you're going to purchase one of these things, you have to give them, are you sitting down? $4,000.
Whoa!
Okay.
Boycott! Boo!
Wow, that's
$4,000. Now, you could turn around about with someone like me because I'm sitting there. I'm very fortunate. I was going to buy one of these things, and there's one simple reason that I'm not going to buy one. I'm not in any way going to give a single penny to these criminals, and it's simply the fact that they're encouraging collectors. They're encouraging. This is nothing to do about getting their synths out to the people. This is nothing to do with people buying these as instruments. These are all going to get bought up by people who just collect them, stick them on a shelf, and they gather dust. But they can go, hey, I've got one of the new Polivoks. Well, because that is not how you do business. Okay? I've said this before. I hope that they fail miserably. They won't, but I hope they do. I hope they get their comeuppance, because this is pure out-and-out greed. From the very first to the very last, this is greed. Because by putting in a bottom bid as £1,850, what they're basically saying is, if you give us £1,850, this is the minimum that we will make a profit, we will make a go of this if we make £150. But that they're all going to go way above that, and that there are going to be plenty of people who would stick down the $4,000. So everything from $1,850 to $4,000 is pure out-and-out greed. It's greed. Yeah. Now, thing about an auction. Sorry, this is really sorry. The thing about the auction is the fact that you have auctions with things that have an indefinable price, or aren't available anymore, are totally unique, about things that are very special you can't put a price on it. Therefore, the price that you pay is worth whatever you're willing to pay. With something like this, they have manufacturing costs, they have component costs, they have all of this. This is just a standard price. They know how much it costs to make these synths, and they know how much their markup is going to be on it. This is not something you have an auction with. They have a set price that they know what is reasonable and what is not reasonable. This is greed, 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 and greed. I really want one of these synths, but I will not give a penny to this company. And I hope that other people who are actually musicians and have a real heart in this industry, they don't give a penny to these thieving gits either.
Right.
Yeah.
That's because I mean, when you have an auction, it's like you could bid or you could guarantee to buy it at this price. I mean, why not just say they're $4,000 each and that's that? I mean, at least that's fine. Yeah. Well, it's not fine; it's expensive, but if you can sell them, great. But that's still $400,000.
It's just wrong on every level. It's just so wrong. And I really want this synth. I really do. But I'm literally, on principle, I will not give them a penny.
No, well, I think that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Whew. Right, I'm glad you got that. I'm glad you got that off your chest, and I do. I definitely do concur. I think that is. I think it does seem a little bit of a just not quite the right way of going about things. It doesn't. I mean, the guy may well be, the original designer may well be, feeling like he needs to make some money back on his IP or whatever, and that's fine. But then price accordingly. Don't do that. It just seems a little bit of a weird way around. But anyway.
Sorry. Thank you for letting me just have that rant.
You're welcome. You're welcome, guys. Sorry, Ty. Well,
so what would a Polivoks sell for now? Just an original one.
$300. No, fair. I'm absolutely honest. No. Seriously, you can get them for between $300 for a not very good nick one, or about $1,000 for one in a decent nick. If you go directly to to Russia, you can get them for really. But and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this isn't going to be better. They're assuring us that that the components in it are authentic, that the build quality, blah 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 blah. I get all of that. And the reality is, though, what made the Polivoks so great was actually the components really weren't that good, because this was this wasn't the Western world. So what made them so special was they weren't the best components. They weren't the most expensive components. So it was never going to be a high-end synth. That wasn't the nature of the beast. And I just think that by trying to suddenly go, we're just going to stick a random figure of $4,000 on, which people will pay, collectors will pay.
I'm trying to find one. I can't find one at the moment, but yeah,
it's just wrong. Yeah. Realistically, if you've got $1,000 to spend, you should be able to get a half decent Polivoks, but obviously without MIDI and.
Yeah. So do you reckon it's a very cynical ploy then, looking at the kind of upswinging sort of vintage collectors and all that kind of thing, and just like it's what happened with guitars, really, and.
Well, it seems a bit more blatant than that. I don't want to go on about this because I think we're probably nearing the end of the show. It'd be nice to sort of just relax and breathe, everybody. There we are. So, well, and in fact, on that pause, it probably is time to head off into the sunset, or head off into. I won't be heading off into Bath because. The Christmas market means that it's impossible almost to get anywhere in Bath, because there's usually about 50 or 60 coaches of shoppers buying wooden ties and cheese on pieces of slate, that sort of stuff, which is, is good, all good stuff, I guess, but don't bother going into the city centre of this city, that's for sure. So anyway, I want to say thank you very much. Rich Hilton, thank you very much for joining us this week. It's been a pleasure to have you, as ever.
A pleasure to have been had. Thank you.
Are you off to the studio now for more music making and merrymaking?
I'm actually working right here in this chair today, and then tonight I am going to see. This is esoteric, folks. Chick Corea and John McLaughlin played duets.
Whoa!
Okay.
Nice.
Wow. Get it. Wow.
Excellent. Well,
wow,
I hope you have a lovely time, Rich. That sounds like
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm excited.
Excellent. And Mr. Ty Unwin, thank you very much for joining us once again. Thanks to your family for giving up the rest of their broadband so that we can talk to you.
Thank you. And someone else, by the way, just posted something on the forum basically to say, check out Erica Synths, because they make a kind of if you want to get into the Polivoks world, but on a decent price, the Erica Synths make a great modular, which essentially recreates a Polivoks and sounds amazing. So yeah check out.
There are a few, aren't there?
Thank you so much. It's always been great, as ever.
Thank you very much, Ty. It's a pleasure to have you. And also, Mr. Gaz Williams, thank you for joining us too. I hope you have a great rest of your week and all of those good things.
Yeah, well, I've just been sent an enormous list of songs for we've got this big, the Pop Dungeon, this project. It's my one of my main things at the moment, the Charlotte Church Pop Dungeon. We've got a big Christmas show coming up, and I've just been sent the Pop Dungeon. My main things at the moment, the Charlotte Church Pop Dungeon. We've got a big. We've got a big thing that's been sent.
Oh, excuse me.
What's happening? What's happening?
It's me. It's my fault. It's gone.
Oh.
I was just seeing if I could stop the Facebook stream so we could carry on, but I can't figure out a way to do it. I'm sorry about that.
So I've just been sent the list of songs to learn, and there's some hilarious choices there. So I've got a lot of fun just to delve into that load of songs now, because I've got a couple of days to learn 20 songs.
Wow. Are they Christmassy?
Yeah, well, yeah, half of them, yeah. So, but there's a lot of. One of the things about Pop Dungeon is to take people by surprise. That's really a big part of it, and there's some amazing things coming for this one. So yeah, I'm quite excited about that. So yes, so thank you for letting me be on the show again.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. And that's it for this week. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Thanks to our fulsome chat room. We nearly hit 400 live viewers today, which is a pretty good number for us. So thank you one and all for sticking around. There will be, I think, another show before Christmas. I haven't figured out the dates yet. But just to remind you, if you want to enter the competition to win iZotope Neutron even, tweet the hashtag Mixmaster and the hashtag Neutron to @sonicstate and @iZotope Inc. That's the hashtag Mixmaster, one word, and the hashtag Neutron to @sonicstate and @iZotope Inc. You'll be entered into the competition, and you might get a little gift coming at you before. And yes, there will be a review of the System 8 coming up when I get the opportunity. I'll try and get it done before Christmas. We'll see. So that's it for this week. Thank you very much, everybody. See you next time.